Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Good Monday morning. Amy Jacobson here. John Anthony.
Hey.
In for... Did you see I was trying to sing the song?
I did. I heard it.
Oi! Because they're an Aussie group, right? Who knows?
Yeah.
Pritzker, Governor Pritzker, going around the state promoting his good works, which I don't know. It's kind of a joke. I don't know what exactly he's promoting, but here he is on X promoting day 2 around the state of Illinois.
Hi, everyone. Here
Hi.
on day 2 of my trip around the state, announcing my candidacy for re-election as governor. We had a great day 1. Now we're in Belleville at Southwestern Illinois College.
Oh, it is?
SWIC
That's where
is
Belleville is?
home to a manufacturing academy that we created over the last couple of years. And it is helping to train people for good jobs, good paying jobs. Very excited to start day 2 here. And we'll be back at you with the rest of day 2 soon.
Shows him hugging people, elderly people, babies.
We just finished a 2-day tour, and it's been amazing. So many people showed up all across the state. We had a great crowd that showed up here in West Frankfort. Democrats are going to win up and down the ballot. I'm really excited that people have come to our campaign to be part of it.
Dramatic finish. So the king has made it official. He is running for a 3rd term. So who will his Republican challenger be? With more on this and other issues, let's welcome back to the program Illinois Republican Party Chairperson Kathleen Salvi. Good morning, Kathleen. How are you?
Amy and John, good morning. Happy Monday. And I believe this is probably one of the best opportunities that we have had to turn the state around. And, you know, people are looking at the last nearly 8 years and they ask, is my life better because of Pritzker and the supermajority in Springfield? And you know, you ask anybody and they're looking for to move out of the state. They're looking for a 2nd or 3rd job to be able to sustain the taxes that they're suffering. And you look at whether it's gas tax, 2nd highest in the nation, whether it's property taxes, highest in the nation. We are losing our working men and women in Illinois, and it's a kind of the bad policies by this Democrat Party.
Well,
so thank you for having me here.
Oh, yeah. Well, so the question people are asking, especially Republicans and conservatives in Illinois, who are the leading candidates to challenge him? What Republican names are out there right now? Because we got to get on this.
Yep. Yeah. I think we're going to be surprised to see some great names come August. Many people looking at the situation of our state and saying, when Pritzker re-announced, he should be wanting to be. We shouldn't consider to rehire him, but to fire him. But what does he have to run on? And a lot of great Republicans are considering running, and this just shows you that the $3.2 billion that he has in personal wealth doesn't buy him good sense, common sense. And what he's done, I don't know what he can say to applaud. There are great people around the state doing great things in spite of the mess that he's left us. So who are those names? I don't want to tip any, of your listeners off, but you'll be among the first to hear. And in August 5th, we start the petition process, and I'm really thrilled about some of the folks. And of course, we've got the sheriff of DuPage County already pledged to run. So we've got some great people who will be on the primary. And as you know, the Illinois Republican Party doesn't slate candidates. We will back vigorously the winners of the primary. But we don't run campaigns, we don't fund campaigns, but we provide the mechanics that will help for winning campaigns. And as the 1,000 plus people came together in late April and for our Red Gala, the energy in that room was contagious. There is definitely something happening here in Illinois, and I predict the Republican revolution will happen before earlier than I thought, especially with Pritzker's re-announcement. And I got to tell you, his words sum it up. He said, he was talking about what's wrong-headed. Well, I'll tell you, his decision to run again is wrong-headed because he's flat out wrong on so many things, including the 16 billion plus expansion, the bloated budget that he's allowed in Illinois. And for what? For what? Just more taxes and tougher living for our families and businesses here in Illinois.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. How you doing, Chairwoman? It's so good to hear
Hello,
from you.
John.
You know, I think there's Sheriff James Mindrick. I think there was a Phil Perez and there's a Joseph Severino who've all came out and say that they're going to run. You know, as of October 2024, and I'm sure the numbers have been updated, the Independent Voter Project in Illinois, there are 2.7 million Democrats, 2.1 million Republicans, and then 2.5 what's so-called independent voters. What messaging are we putting out there? Because we're already under the gun as it relates to voting. What's the message to the independents and those disaffected Democrats as it relates to how we win this, not only gubernatorial race, but the Senate's up as well. And then there's a lot of state reps and state Senate races as well. What's our messaging? What are we putting out there for the voter who's just become so they're throwing their hands up to the Illinois Republican Party? What's your message to them?
Well, you know what? You raised a great point. There's one thing I want people in your listening audience to think: get involved. I'm going to assume that every person who's listening to you today is going to vote, and I hope they're going to vote. You're all going to vote Republican. But this is a different era. We need to talk about the issues that matter most over our dinner tables and with our colleagues at work. And squarely in the state of Illinois, this Democrat Party is pandered to the left and has caused us a great deal of pain. So what we need to do is give the solutions that will put Illinois back on its feet. And what is it? Republicans are tax fighters. We look at where we have to make spending cuts in order to be able to make a budget, like any family does. And I got to say, there's not one listener here who hasn't had to look at their budget and wonder, what am I going to cut? Or when their kids come to them and say, hey, Mom, Dad, can I go here to school? Say, well, how are we going to pay for it? But what this government and this Pritzker governor does is they figure they've got an open checkbook with the Illinois taxpayer, and that's got to stop. And what Republicans offer is solutions to the problems that we've had that will attract business to the state and keep our families here and improve our education, just like every single Republican governor and legislature in the successful states have done. And so
I look at the governor of Florida and I just wish, my goodness, why couldn't we have that same type of leadership here?
Well, there you go. So we could make Illinois look that way, but we regular Republicans have got to make the message heard. And so how to do it? I encourage everyone in the listening audience. These are not times to sit and criticize and point fingers at the Republican you don't like. This is a time to say, hey, I am the Republican here in Illinois. I have to make a difference. I just don't have to vote. I would implore every listener here in the 40-day election cycle that we have, and then the 2 weeks afterwards where we collect ballots. In that 40 days, you should not only vote early, but you should ask yourself, can I get 12 people that I know amongst my neighbors, my colleagues, my friends to vote as well? Let's capture those ballots, collect them, inform them of the issues, and I guarantee you we will have a Republican revolution if every Republican does just that. So I implore people, get involved, become precinct committee men and women, train to be an election judge, train to be a poll watcher, and give of yourself in that way, and we will turn Illinois around.
You can also get paid a little bit of money for doing that as well. So I have a good friend in the northern suburbs who wants to run for state rep. I'm not going to tell you which Democrat rep she wants to take out because she's on the fence. How does she go about that? How can the Illinois GOP help her?
Okay, again, as I mentioned, the Illinois GOP doesn't run or fund campaigns, but we have a wonderful partnership with the Leadership Institute, and we're holding three half-day trainings. One is in Marion, Illinois on the 26th of July. I would ask every one of your listeners, go to Leadership Institute and look at their schedule of events. But we have one scheduled in Marion, Illinois, one in Rockford, I believe one in Peoria, and then look at it, ask for the chairman's newsletter. go to the Illinois Republican website and sign up for the chairman's newsletter. I write it every Friday, and attached to it, I have a boatload of invitations around the state. So all you need to do is look and see what's happening in your area, in your region. I know that in July there's a wonderful training for precinct committee men and women in DuPage County, which the 3rd and 8th Central Committeemen women are putting on. That's Deb Kennerowski and Jeannie Ives, great Republicans. But in any event, the way to get involved is just to reach out. Reach out to your local Republican township or county organization and say, hey, all hands on deck. I want to get involved. My family wants to get involved. And, people always say, well, what is it with you? You're always asking for money. Well, the easiest way to support your party is to write a check. It just takes less than a minute. So I say, you want to support your Republican team, write a check. But I would prefer you to get more involved. Time, talent, and treasure. That's what it's going to take to turn Illinois around. And I will tell you, this last 11 months it's a roller coaster ride. But I will tell you, I am so thrilled. What we did in the 2024 November election in Illinois was historic. We outperformed the Democrats in getting our voters out. Now, granted, John, to your point, we need more Republican voters. We need more independents to vote Republican. But I believe when ordinary people like you and me and your listeners take the case to their friends and colleagues, and I would implore you, go to the White House website and see what's happening on a day-to-day basis, okay? Yeah. And how Illinois is being left in the shadow because it's not getting on board with some wonderful initiatives that are being promoted in Republican-run states. Yeah. So this is our opportunity, and it's the closest opportunity we've had in Illinois in a long time.
Kathy, you said that Republicans don't get involved. I look at how the Democrats operate. They build deep benches as it relates to, because they do get involved. They get involved now they've gotten involved in consolidated elections, and it's been what's helped them maintain this supermajority status in both the House and the Senate. What can the Republican Party do as it relates to developing a bench of people? Because we don't have a strong bench to pull people from to run for a lot of these different offices, whereas the Democrats, they can just go and look at any township, any city council, school boards. They have candidates that they invest in and are ready to go. What are we? Is there any talk about creating something outside of the Republican Party to help build these benches throughout the state?
Well, first of all, I recommended several things to your listeners to go to the Leadership Institute website and look at the trainings that are being sponsored. We're partnering with them. They are the Illinois Republican Party is also running its own trainings. So get involved in your local Republican Party. That is a first step. Consider becoming a precinct man or committee woman and get to know your neighbors and talk about the issues that the Republican solutions to those issues. Granted, the Democrat machine has been alive and active for decades, but look at how it's failing us in Illinois. And this, I heard a bunch of friends, colleagues of mine, opining about the old days with Daley. Well, let me tell you, those days are gone. This is a Democrat Party that panders to the far left, and there are very few people who can agree with what they're pushing and promoting. So what I'd suggest is people are waking up. Look at the blacks in Chicago, upset over the Democrat support and funding of illegal border crossers. And then how many Hispanics don't like the diversity, equity, and inclusion that are being pushed in their schools? It goes against their family values and their religion. And then you look at the push for boys and girls locker rooms, and then the girls who complain about it are the ones who are punished. This is insane.
Yeah, I don't mean to cut you off, but I know we're short for time. You talked about what's happening in Chicago. Have you connected with the Blexit, the Chicago Flip Red, Chicago Red? Is that I know there's a minority outreach plan, but is there a long sustaining plan to keep them here as well?
The more of your listeners, the more of us who band together and take part, we build by addition, not by subtraction. So I suggest everybody get involved in your local Republican Party. And what I've said often is I will support the worst Republican any day of the week, fill in the blank, to the best, most well-intentioned Democrat any day of the week, because that party has become corrupted and its policies are bad for Illinois. And we've suffered it for the last nearly 8 years. So get involved and become a Republican. And the best way to turn the state red is for many of those school board and local leaders who identify as Democrats, come on board to the Republican Party. Taste the sweet waters of the Republican Party, and that'll bring about our Republican revolution, our common sense revolution sooner. And this is the time to do it. This is the election cycle to do it. So I invite everybody. If you've historically only voted a Democrat or never voted before, now is the time to come on board and get to know us, become part of this great Republican movement, and let's end the blue funk in Illinois.
All right, Kathleen Salvi, going to leave it there for today. Illinois Republican Party chairperson, thank you so much for joining us. Have a great day.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Bye-bye, John. Bye,
Bye-bye.
Amy.
Bye. And she joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
It's like a hot, steaming cup of information to start your day. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Are you turning 65 and thinking about Medicare? Or are you over 65 and haven't enrolled yet because you still have coverage at work? Either way, Medicare done correctly will be the best health insurance you will ever have. Imagine having an annual deductible of only $257. There are only two good things about aging, wisdom and Medicare. But to navigate the Medicare maze properly, you need a mentor. Best part? My guidance costs you nothing. Call me. I can help.
If you're tired of calling a bureaucrat at an 800 number to help you navigate Medicare, then you need a local expert on your side. Your own health insurance mentor. C. Stephen Tucker from healthinsurancementors.com is someone I know and trust. He's a 30-year licensed broker who's been educating our listeners for more than a decade. Steve, how can our listeners get in touch with you?
Thanks, Dan. They can visit healthinsurancementors.com or call me directly at 630